all the time when the gentlemen or the ladies walk onto the field, it's about sweat and blood. And speaking of blood, Zambia had to bleed in Bleeder at the hands of the African champions. Talking about Algeria, 5-0. Yes, if you're a Zambian, you don't want to hear that, but we'll talk about it because this is match preview in as far as the game between Zambia and Zimbabwe is concerned. They call it the Battle of the Zambezi or the Zambezi Derby. And I can tell you that it will definitely look at one or two things with regards to this particular encounter. It can only be on PinkSPORT TV. My name is Gasper and I'm excited to be in your company. Guess what? Joining me is the Rolls Royce of football analysts in the name of GEZANI MBEWE, the former Namwala midfielder himself. I'm talking about Namwala High School. He's somebody that played football up to what level? I don't know. But GEZANI, it's good to have you here.
Oh, thank you very much. It's good to be live on this platform. Of course, the TV that looks to have more direction. We are here to talk sport.
We are here to talk sport, and I can tell you another gentleman that needs no introduction. Zimbabwean international, Zimbabwean player who plays his trade at Lusaka Dynamos, the former ZSQ United player. Also, he had a stint with Zanaco Football Club. He's ZIMISELENI MOYO. Welcome, sir. It's good to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you.
What a pleasure to have a life like you, talking about football. But the question I would love to ask you after GEZAN's response, they call football to be the beautiful game. What's so beautiful about football?
So beautiful, being watched by millions, or maybe say billions of people all over the world. When two players they're battling out on a pitch, a lot of people would love to stand in between, or maybe on the terraces, or maybe on TV, in front of their TVs to watch what is really happening. But remember also that it's a sport that brings friendship second to the color of your shirt. But after 90 minutes, you exchange shirts. Love prevails and brings peace. It has been used as a tool also to bring peace in the countries where there is war. So I think for me, football is something that is unique and brings peace and love together.
High five to you. It's like you know something about five, eh?
Yeah.
But we'll talk about that. And for you, Moyo, of course, what are you? Who are you without football?
No, for me, football is everything because for myself to be in Zambia is because of football. Everything, like football does everything for me, for my family, every sphere of life. Wherever I've flown to or I've gone, it's all because of football. So football is everything.
What are some of the emotions that you think football brings in one's life? Fan, coach, sponsor, player?
No, it's just so many times it brings happiness, sorrow. In such situations where the team has lost like this,
like
where Zambia so it will be a tough situation where you find that everyone is down. Then now you go back, when you rewind a bit, you go to 2012 when Zambia won the Africa Cup. How the whole nation was so live about everything, so happy. That's how football can do what football can do to you. So football is everything. It can touch every sphere of life. So that's how fantastic football is.
Beautiful. And of course, no wonder we're telling you have to be part of PinkSPORT TV by subscribing to this channel and of course liking our Facebook page, because today we have dedicated all the time to previewing the match, and as far as match day 2 is concerned for the qualifiers for 2021 AFCON slated for Cameroon. Match day 1 gave us a number of results, and let me remind you, let's take a look at the results because these are interesting results. When you look at what happened, gentlemen, the biggest win of course is Algeria beating the former African champion Zambia 5 goals unanswered. Talk about Gambia beating Angola by 3-1. What did you observe from those results?
Oh, I think for me, in my mind, if you look at the results which are really destroying, I think for me, everything, I think it's more like down, because after we had to be greeted in Bleeder by high five, like we said in our preamble, it was not just an ordinary high five, but it was an high five that needed the ball to shake behind the net, and it was 5 times Zambia losing that game. Tosta Savata far from saving a lot of goals. So I think for me, it was something that really obstructed me to look beyond the results that we could see there, because Zambia was beaten. Almost crying, I couldn't even, my appetite was far from me and in my house. But I think we can talk more about how we lost the game.
Moyo, I want you to talk to us about some of those results. When you look at Comoros beating Togo on their home soil, 1-0.
Yeah, I think now this tenders where people they say that there are some small teams, I think it's cancelling out, or some giants are slacking behind. We don't know, but it's somewhere they are cancelling each other, because you see these islands like Comoros, Cape Verde, they are now doing so well. And even some teams which were down, like now you find Botswana, to come to Zimbabwe, you even get a point. It wasn't, it's something which it can't just happen. But now it seems so normal, because so many teams are just cancelling this big team mind out. So it's good that it's balancing up for football. So it's good for the fans, it's good for everybody. And it shows that these, like the Comoros, if you talk about Cape Verde Comoros, they are doing so well. Because that means there's somewhere in administration where there's something which they are doing right, which is making to close this gap. So it's good for African football.
Talk about the highlights, those highlights that we are watching, these ones. And of course, you have your own story from one goal to the other until it's 5. And the mishaps, the 6s and 7s that the Zambian defense found themselves into. But what is your pick from the performance in as far as Zambia is concerned?
Well, my pick was, if you look at how we lined up, I think the back four, we had the right back, we had to shift the central defender, Mr. Kawasutunga, the captain of the side on that night, had to play number 2. Then we had Tandi Mwape to play 4-5 with the Topira Sungu. The left back was Mr. Achungu. I think if you look how we lined up, I think for me it was all about, we went in Algeria without a right back, a permanent right back.
But did it affect the
It really
build-up?
affected, because we were forced to play Tandi Mwape with Stopira Sungu. Hence what happened was the holding midfielder, one of them, Nathan Sinkara, being the senior midfielder, was forced to drop and cover up what Mr. Tandi Mwape was leaving. Hence we had just one midfielder, Mr. Saranpil from Polokwane, who was able to at least to drive the hub of the midfield, but it couldn't happen because we had a lot of spaces. When you know that you don't have a dependable central defender like who was playing Tandi Mwape, I think for me, a little confidence that I had in him, but I think for me it was something like we opened up the midfield and we were punished because of that. But also we did not have the strikers who could hold the ball up there, because we played right, left wingers like Mr. Augustine Mulenga, and also the likes of Kretas Chota Chama. They were not prolific because they were not supply. You cannot depend when you don't have supply. And moreover, we had the strikers like Kangwa, Evans. I think for me, he is not a striker who's going to stand alone. You remember that the time was gone when we had the strikers like Mr. Eto, the likes of Didier Troba.
So you're talking about big-bodied strikers.
Not only big board, but someone who's got the ambition to play alone, hold the ball and wait for somebody, and they drive that pressure on the opponent defense. So I think for me, we lacked that, and hence we were punished. Moreover, beyond that, it was all about who came smarter after the 45 minutes, who was able to read what the tactical approach the other team was playing.
A big congratulations to Algeria, of course. They did put up a very splendid performance. And of course, they did show that they are the defending champions, and as far as Africa Cup is concerned. But for you, Moyo, those are the results for Algeria, for Zimbabwe, beg your pardon. You know what happened. It was a goalless draw at home ground, Zimbabwe failing to score. But Botswana, talk about them.
No, Botswana, they did their homework on Zimbabwe very, very well. Because Zimbabwe at home has been so good. Because if you remember, before we played Botswana, we played Ethiopia, where we struggled so bad. They beat us away, but we had to beat them at home. Mostly at home, we are usually so ruthless. But now, suddenly, Botswana came with a good strategy. It worked for them. For the day, it was so good because we dominated in almost possession, but we couldn't score. Because football is about goals. So if you're not scoring, those are the results.
At Bolan-Chan.
Bolan is a goal. Bolan is a goal. So now without goals, it won't make much of a difference. So we're supposed to score some goals. It's just like the comment from the coach where he said the final third we had a problem. So now we can understand the situation. When you see that Botswana, they defended well. So now we're supposed to, that's why there's this situation where there's a player from Charlton Athletic who just got his passport.
Pony.
Yeah, Pony. So you find that it's that situation where they knew the problem even before the game, where you can get a striker. Yes, we have Musona, Billiard, but you should have many options for the national team. In case like for now, Musona is frozen out, he's not playing much. So now sometimes if there's much of competition within that position, we get goals from so many people, it will be easy for us.
And I've seen from the highlights, Fambizai had a very good performance. Talk about Mahachi coming through, making a difference. I know you have your own story in as far as what should happen in the game against Zambia. on Sunday. We had a number of results to give to you. As you can see on your screen, interesting results. African football. And as far as match day 1 is concerned, 24 games were played and we did see 50 goals being scored. It's only here where we fight, we battle out on the field of play. It's a physical game. It's about emotions and of course the celebrations that come with different goals. Many results that we're able to see, but the fixtures, crucial ones of course. These are the fixtures that will give you life on any given day. Wherever you're watching these games from, Southern Africa, Eastern Africa, West Africa, North Africa, mention it, Central. It's about African football. And CAF, in reflection to the qualifier for 2021 is concerned, slated for Cameroon. But gentlemen, let's now concentrate on the big one. The reason why we are here, it's about the Zambezi Derby. It's about the Battle of the Zambezi. It's about Southern Derby. Zimbabwe, away to Zambia. GEZANI, what crosses your mind when you hear this particular encounter?
Oh, a lot, because this is the battle that is always unpredictable. It's the battle of the times. That is, you expect both teams to come and make sure to showcase themselves. Remember that both teams, they are coming not from a win. Especially Zambia, it's more like a hunter is wounded. He wants to use the copper bullet to shoot on you. So like Zimbabwe needs to be very careful.
The Warriors are also
the
watching.
Warriors also, they are wounded. They want to see, is it really copper, or they are using maybe magnesium, they are using maybe sulfur. I don't know whatever it is. But it's the battle that by the end of the day, it brings which team wins. And we are all like, we are just the same. Zimbabwe, Zambia, we mingle and we interact together. So this is the game that 90 minutes will determine. But of course, if you look at statistics, you can see that out of 50 times that we played, Zambia, they have managed to beat Zimbabwe 19 times. And you've got 22 times, they have been a draw. And the 9 times Zambia, they have lost. So I think you look at all those, yes, Zambia, they have got an upper hand, but there's too much, in my opinion, there's too much pressure on the Zambian technical bench.
Too much pressure on the Zambian technical bench. Are you consenting to what GEZANI is saying? And also, I would love to get your thoughts concerning this game. Historical, the names that you think of when you hear of this derby?
Yeah, no, if you look at Zambia has been dominating for so long. It's just that it's but that rivalry between Zimbabwe and Zambia will always be there. But sometimes when you talk about the pressure of the coaches, even the Zim coach is under pressure, because this is a guy who has just he just got the job now. He's yet to convince the nation that he can do it for Zim. So now he was coming from a loss from Ethiopia, but he managed to take the team to another level. So he's a guy where both sets of coaches are under pressure, Zambia and Zimbabwe. But now Zimbabwe has got that thing where they are coming from a draw. They are building on from a point to try to get 3 points, where Zambia is coming from a loss. But Zambia now, the advantage will be, they will be playing at home. But Zimbabwe and Zambia, there's not much of a difference. So you find that even Zimbabwe can come and make a home away from home. So there's a possibility.
Nothing is impossible in football.
Nothing is impossible in football. So even Zimbabwe can come and grab a point. Whoever plans well, I think you can get the maximum points.
I don't know which players you'll be able to pick, gentlemen, as your key players, but I can tell you, it's Kabaso Chongo versus Knowledge Msona. It's about Agri Chiangi taking on Joe Antipas, the coach for Zimbabwe. But of course, what are some of the stories we are getting from the two camps, starting with Zambia? What's new?
Well, I think a story has been forwarding that these two players who plays for Salzburg, the likes of Irokimwe and also Patton Daka, could be part of the team that will be able to nest just behind us. Is a huge and big, admirable, adorable.
But why did you forget to mention that that's the venue for the game?
Yes, we have to talk about it. But I hope that, in my opinion, I would have loved to bring back the likes of Mr. Kennedy Mwene to keep that experience in between sticks. And also bring up, Sirim has been really prolific and he's been the defender that has really accounted very well at the light back, being assigned for Zambian duty. So I think for me, it's all about what we want. And we've got the team at our disposal. Let us use, we've got talent. Let us use them to make sure that at least we wound the Warrior. The Warrior doesn't get 3 points from us.
You are standing next to the Warrior and he's listening to what you're saying. He's he obviously would love to tell us some of the new things pertaining to Zimbabwe. Injuries, affecting the team. You've talked about the Charlton player, Makuni Boni. you know, other players that are missing who are key in as far as this game is concerned. But what's new pertaining to the Zimbabwean side?
Now for the side, it's just that the right back and the left back, they were new because the guys who were playing there, Darikwa, he's got an injury, and even the left back was supposed to play, Divine Lunga, the one who plays for Golden Arrows. But the guys who came in there, they accounted themselves very well. They played so well. In fact, they were just fantastic. They played so well. Now we find that Zambia, they were coming from conceding 5, and us were struggling in the final third. So I think for us now, it's for Zimbabwe, it's an advantage, because if the defense of Zambia was panicking so much to concede 5, it's a matter of just putting more pressure to them, because don't give them this game. What will happen here? I think the first 4-5 minutes is what will determine what will happen.
But are you able to see like what's going to happen there? Like
the first 4-5 minutes will determine Zimbabwe's win. And if Zimbabwe is to win, it will be the first 4-5 minutes, because Zambia is coming from 5-0. So for them to convince convince the nation that they are up for the challenge, they need to convince from the very first minute that they want to change that 5-0 trapping of Algeria. So as Zimbabwe is just to, on the final third, we add more intensity to them, we put them under pressure, we can score more goals.
Agreed.
We don't know.
Agreed. It's like you on aggregate, you're 5-0 down. You're playing a different team, but you have the nation to convince in inflection to that.
I think very important aspect that Zambia should also be worried is that looks like Mson has got more knowledge about Zambia. And it also looks like Billiard has got also income. Something that is very
what did you say? Muson has got knowledge about
Zambian
food.
Yes.
And then Billiard nakwata. That's crazy, man. That's all about this match preview in reflection to the game between Zambia and Zimbabwe. Come this particular day, that's Tuesday, 18 hours, that's kickoff time. Let's get tactical, gentlemen, as we wrap up. What should happen now? You know what the coach used in terms of Zambia. Two holding midfielders, we've talked about it, and also the players that you think should start. But if Zambia is to get right this game, how should they be lining up?
Let us show there are 3. You need speed, skill, and also you should have something that will determine the strength. If Zambia can experience, I remember, and I still borrow the words that the former Chipolopolo coach, Mr. Wada Western Union said, it's very important on a team to have these 3 assets: speed, skill, and strength. If we can show the strength that we have, I think we need to build from the back. If you build from the back, because also you should account that you've got strikers or midfielders who are not very huge and tall. Hence, if you are trying to put the aerial balls, it's very difficult for them to account. Because remember that the ball in air is more like 50-50.
It's for everyone.
Yes, it's for everyone. So I think what we should do is that let us play our football. Let us start. A good part is that the technical advisor, Mr. George Kenwanda, also, we've seen him just building from the back. So if we can build from the back, that's the reason I've cried that Sirimba and if they can start for Zambia, then it means well for Zambia. Because the moment you see the ball with the goalkeeper, he's going to throw it with the central defender. Then where are these two going to come? Sirimba and also Mwira, they will be at least on the center line. Already you are putting pressure. Then one of the strikers can drop and get the ball from the winger. So I think for me, it's all about let us play the game. Not Chidunu, but let us play the game. Let's be comfortable. I know the pressure that 60,000 capacity heroes might just amount to, but play your game. We can beat Zimbabwe.
Well spoken, GEZANI MBEWE, of course, bringing the tactical aspect in reflection to Zambia's side and considering how they fared in the previous game against Algeria. But let's turn to you, Moyo. This is a Zimbabwe that has got so many injuries, but they have to produce results away from home. Let's get tactical. What are you saying in terms of what should be done on the part of Joyo Antipas?
Okay, the good part about Zimbabwe for the midfield, because of Monetsi and the Aston Villa man, Nakamba, they've done so well, inclusive of Karuru. They've done so well for the midfield. So that stability, I think it can be maintained because they are experienced enough to change it from, when you are playing so offensively. Now there are times where it will demand in this match that Zambia will come, will put pressure on you. Because it's a team, it's a wounded round, so they are supposed to recover from that 5-0 loss. So those are experienced guys. I think for the midfield, there are not much changes. I think those guys, they know how to apply themselves when we are under pressure or when we don't have pressure. So I think for Zimbabwe, the only thing is on the final third. I think if it means we use, we put speedy wingers, we continue with our captain, whether the coach will have faith on him to continue with them, besides not getting as much game time, hoping that they will do something. And Billiard on his day, he can be a menace to anyone.
Are we assured of goals in this game?
Definitely.
Like how many?
To give Zimbabwe, I can give them, this is a big match, so sometimes 3, 4, 5, those are just out of the world, but I think a 2-0 scoreline will be fine for
in favor of Zimbabwe.
In favor of Zimbabwe.
That's really appetizes Zambians, because you'd love to watch how those goals will be fetched against Zambia. But I think for me, it's something that Zambia, if they want to score a lot of goals, they just go with the normal formation, 4-4-2 formation. Patson Daka accompanies with Mapemson. I think for me, we can get something from there. But as he said, we need to stand and know what is going to happen just within 10 minutes. If you try to build up very nicely, then I think you can score a lot of goals. Because yes, we expect these two guys to be tired because I think they have played a lot of games. But as you said, I think it has been coming. I think on social media everywhere saying that they are professional. They are professionals now. They need to account for that. But I think for me, it's all about who's going to get it. First 45 minutes will be very, very difficult. It will be a determinant. The one who is going to come after a second half, 15 minutes you rest. It will depend on what have you told your players to implement. Where are the weaknesses? Where are the spaces? If you've got the spaces you are able to notice, I think for me, the one who's going to be more clever than the other is the one going to take it to 90 minutes and win and get the 3 points.
We're in the dying minutes of this particular match preview between Zambia and Zimbabwe. Let's agree, gentlemen, we have to put aside patriotism. We need to talk about the genuine part of the game, the reality aspect of it. Let's put the money here. Who's going to win it? Like, on a serious note, forget that you're Zambia. On the other side, I know you're saying Zambia is going to win. But let's be truthful. Where is it going?
I think there's too much pressure for Zambian technical bench, and they'd love to cement these 3 points because we can't afford to lose this one. I remember that we missed the AFCON after we lost the first game, match day 1 against Mozambique at Lev Mwanasa Stadium. This is a must win for Zambia. I see Zambia winning this one 3-1.
3-1. Then you still maintain?
No, I still maintain Zimbabwe, but as much as for Zimbabwe to get a win, they need to be careful because Patson Daga has been in a good scoring rate so far. So you need to mark him well. He's the most dangerous for now because he has been doing so well. So, you know, a striker when he's scoring day in, day out, you know, the confidence is so high. So if we can take care of him well, I think we stand a chance of getting maximum points.
As a defender yourself, would you wish that he's not in the team if you are playing, considering the pace and the form he's in? Do you pray at some point that this player should not be there because he's a Mo Salah kind of player?
To be the best, you have to be the best. So to test your quality, you have to play against quality. So that one doesn't need to be compromised. So for that, it makes the game interesting. Unlike we start saying, this one was not there and that. They need to be there so that we enjoy. It's good for the fans, it's good for everybody. It's good for Southern Africa as well.
Beautiful. Gentlemen, we've talked about this game. And of course, we've tackled a number of issues. As a player, we appreciate you as PinkSPORT TV. And of course, the former player himself for Namwala High School, playing some good football. Gentlemen, I don't know what to say, but on your part, what are you up to in terms of the league as we go?
We just want to. We need
it's
to.
It's been tough for Lusaka Dynamos.
It's been a tough one, but we need to just pick up. You know, sometimes a break when it comes, a break like this, especially the international break, it comes at a time when you are struggling. It's a good chance for you to get some time to recover yourself. It's bad for those who are on form because you don't know how you will come back after that. So for us, it's a recovery time where we need to see how we can sort our issues 1 or 2. Then we start on a clean slate now and hoping that we can get some positive results.
Another tough question for you. Are you retiring anytime soon?
No, I'm still fresh as ever. I think I'm still there. Unless I see somebody with some young boys who will convince me that I know you should just hang it up there now.
You do that.
But yeah, the good part is like I'm just working on my coaching pages so that my transition to coaching will be smooth.
Bring your words now. This is the time where you have to bring all those, the bleeding aspects, the billiard, nice being calm, stuff like that.
Yeah, no, it's something that is unique. It's unique. It's just maybe a few hours you're already in Zimbabwe. And like you said in our preamble, that football is a tool that is used to keep peace. And just after witnessing the match, just within this stadium, it means that we are brothers, one love.
It's one love. One love. You need to shake his hand, because that handshake, we hope it can be seen after 90 minutes plus addition time. Of course, we don't know which direction this particular game will go, but I promise you, it'll be a crack of a game not to miss, a game to watch, because it's a derby in reflection to Southern Africa. And of course, we call it the Battle of the Zambezi. Zambezi derby, as many of you would also dub it. This is definitely one of those things that will hit your screens time and again. YouTube, Facebook, we are there as PinkSPORT TV. For myself, Gasper, and I promise you that as a team, we'll bring more of these analysis, previews, and many content reflection to local regards to sports, just for you, to make sure that you experience PinkSPORT TV, which was born for sports. Gentlemen, from here, we have to walk to the stadium. People will find us there. Thank you very much, and we're saying, Tatokoza. Beautiful stuff.